story begins with Sara, a vibrant 18-year-old woman on the verge of independence. She has plans to travel and build a life of her own, away from the suffocating influence of her father, Don. Don is a man of dual natures to the community. He is a hardworking and respectable patriarch. However, within the walls of his home, he is a cold and tyrannical figure who demands absolute obedience. As Sara prepares to depart, her father makes a final, seemingly mundane request. He asks for her assistance in the basement to move several heavy containers. It is a calculated deception. Once Sara enters the soundproof, subterranean chamber Don has spent months secretly constructing, the heavy steel door is locked from the outside. In an instant, her future is extinguished, and her father becomes her jailer. To explain Sara's disappearance, Don orchestrates a meticulous cover-up. He informs his wife, Irene, and the local authorities that Sara has run away to escape her responsibilities. To reinforce this lie, he compels Sara to write letters to her family, claiming she is safe and happy in another city. Because of this fabricated evidence, the police investigation is eventually closed. While the world above ground continues to move forward, Sara is buried alive just feet beneath her family's living room. Her existence is reduced to a concrete prison where Don maintains total control over her food, her light, and her very survival. The narrative transitions through the agonizing passage of 20 years. Sara's isolation is punctuated only by her father's visits, during which he subjects her to unimaginable psychological and physical trauma. Throughout these decades, Sara's resilience is tested beyond human limits. She eventually gives birth to children within the bunker. These children grow up in a world without sunlight, their only knowledge of the outside world coming from their mother's stories and a small, flickering television. Despite the horrific circumstances, Sara dedicates herself to their education and survival, creating a sense of family within the darkness. The status quo is shattered when Sara's eldest daughter, Marie, falls dangerously ill. Her condition becomes critical, and Sara realizes that without professional medical intervention, her daughter will not survive. She pleads with Don, appealing to the small remains of his humanity. Fearful that a death in the basement would lead to his exposure, Don reluctantly brings the unconscious teenager to a local hospital. He provides the staff with a suspicious story, claiming the girl was left on his doorstep by an unknown person. However, the medical professionals immediately observe several anomalies. The girl is severely malnourished, lacks any documented history, and shows physical signs of prolonged isolation. The hospital's report triggers a renewed police inquiry. As investigators begin to question the inconsistencies in Don's narrative, his composure unravels. In a desperate attempt to maintain his charade, he brings Sara and the remaining children out of the basement, intending to force them to support his lies. However, the moment Sara is separated from her father, she finds the courage to speak. After 20 years of silence, she reveals the full extent of Don's crimes. The authorities move swiftly to arrest Don, and the hidden bunker is finally uncovered. The film concludes with a poignant moment of catharsis. Sara and her children are finally emancipated, experiencing the warmth of the sun and the vastness of the world for the first time in decades. While the scars of their ordeal remain, the story ends on a note of hope and justice. Don is sentenced to life in prison, and Sara is reunited with her mother, finally reclaiming the life that was stolen from her.